Okay. Hang it. Keep your phone off the hook. Everybody quiet, please.
Where are you here? From here up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So.
Your hands are hot. Mine are cold.
Want to get married?
Again?
They've got all the equipment down below, you know.
I do, that's right.
Even tuxedos and dresses.
That's right, the cameraman.
They got little kids.
Yeah.
Got a
I'm
cake.
going to give you the cue this hand.
Okay.
Okay, let's go. We got 5 seconds.
Sorry.
When we get closer up, I'll nudge you, okay?
Okay.
5 seconds.
Hi. It's not often you get to meet a star of the caliber of my guest today. Tony Curtis,
Hello, my dear. How are you?
star of stage, screen,
radio,
film, TV,
television sets,
everything.
kitchens, bedrooms,
That's right. Welcome to our show
Plymouths, Trans Ams,
today. And traveling. Now,
and traveling.
I understand you've been in Hungary, Budapest, the
yes.
Cannes Film Festival, and you
In London,
in London.
and then we flew to New York, then Boston, picked up my 2 sons, Nicholas and Benjamin, and then came up here for this dinner tonight for the Veterans Organization.
Now, tell me exactly what you are doing in
Well,
Maine.
it's a Vietnam Veterans Leadership Program, and they're raising money for a memorial for the state of Maine. You know, the Vietnam veteran, I feel, has been maligned, you know. There was a time when we thought all these young men, the rumor was they were killers. And so the veterans of the Second World War were heroes. I mean, it doesn't make sense, you know, in a country like ours, where we ask our young people to give up the only gift they've got, which is life, and then we malign them. So I think that's unfair. And I'm not politically motivated one way or the other, you know. But I just felt that maybe somebody should speak up if they can, so I do.
Do you have a particular interest? I know that in the past you've been very supportive of our armed forces.
Well, no, I don't. You know, I don't have a particular interest, more or less. You know, it's just that this particular thing kind of intrigues me. You know, and these are the kind of, I won't say cause because it's not a cause. You know, and I mean, whether I spoke up or didn't, I mean, the truth is still the truth. That these young men have been, you know, maligned and called names that they shouldn't be, and I feel that somebody should speak up for them. That's the only reason I do it. You know,
Are you involved with other projects similar to this?
No,
elsewhere in the
I do
country?
this. There's 1 or 2 orphanages that I help out with. I just feel it's part of my living experience, and part of my profession, that some public service is necessary. You know, you've got to give back much of the things that you receive, because it's reciprocal in a way. You've got to give it back to the people that, or the gods, or the nature, or whatever it is you believe in that gave it to you to begin with. You know? I think someone wants to come in.
Let them in quick.
Yeah, right.
Speaking of your profession,
Yeah, but I think they want to nail down that door. Hi, everybody. They're on television. Somebody by the name of Bobby is closing down the door. There he is. They finally figured out how to do it. There it is. Now,
okay.
where were we?
Now, where were we?
Yeah, in whose
I think-
bedroom?
No.
No.
We weren't there.
We weren't? Well,
We
then
weren't
go
there.
on.
We're right here.
Carry on.
Now, speaking of
What are
your
you doing later
profession,
today? Speaking of my profession,
speaking of your profession, you have been making films for nearly 40 years.
almost 37 years.
You've made almost,
Well over
how many
120
films?
some odd
Well
movies.
over 120 feature films.
Ooh.
Where are you going from here? What can we expect to see
Well,
from
I
you in
guess
the near
another
future?
120. Maybe.
Another 120. You have
I
that
don't
many
know.
left?
I
in you?
haven't. I don't give it any practical thought. To me, it's just a matter of doing. You know, this is my life now. Next week or a month from now, a year from now, I don't know. If I don't want to work, perhaps I won't make pictures, but I'll still do, you know, all of my other vocations.
Yeah, you are a multi-talented
Well,
man.
I don't know how talented I am. I certainly give each one a shot.
Yeah, well,
you
you're
know.
an author.
Well, I like the idea of expressing myself in all the different mediums, because it all helps each one of us. Because there's 6 or 7 of me all doing different things at the same time.
makes me think of a good question to ask.
Yes.
We see you on the films, and you are Tony Curtis, the superstar, the legend. If you could tell the world something about yourself that perhaps we don't see, perhaps that might be the real Tony Curtis, how would you like to be remembered? How would you like people to see you?
You know, we spoke of it before, and I thought it was a nice point. The only reason I'm Tony Curtis is because I look like Tony Curtis. Somebody said to me in Cannes,
And you sound like Tony Curtis.
I was getting a lot of publicity, and somebody walked up to me, a stranger, and said, "Will success spoil Tony Curtis?" And I said, "Well, that depends on who you are." And we all laughed a little bit, and I thought it was kind of funny. I liked it, because it depends on who you are. You know, if it wasn't for this profession that photographs and records my voice and my physical being, if I were a painter or an author or a poet or a very famous doctor or a philosopher, perhaps you wouldn't know who I am. You'd only know me from another meaning of work. So therefore the attention is focused on a physical being, you know, more than it is on someone that's less recognizable. And that recognition is a great help. Some instances it can be a hindrance, you know, particularly if you got into a crowded subway. That would be a very big...
So who's the Tony Curtis inside?
I don't know if he exists, you know. His vibrations, my vibrations are very sensitive and very intricate, you know. And success in my profession does not necessarily mean a particular happiness. There's still a great deal of what can I call it? There's still a lot of hostility, some anger, you know, some peace, some tranquility, a mixture of many, many things. So I'm really a kind of a mixture of everybody that we all know, you know, some more, some less. And as time goes on, some emotions become more important and other emotion becomes less. So that's the combination of the kind of a person I am.
How have you changed in your over 30-year acting career?
My changes come very subtly. At the beginning, you know, when I was a very young man, I had no idea of what this profession meant, or never mind the profession, but what living meant. You know, the profession is the least of the dilemma. You know, the fact that the profession is the least of it. What is the most important thing is the living experience and the living style and what you're trying to accomplish, if you're trying to accomplish anything. You know, I walked down the street here in Portland this morning, and I noticed a lot of young people really wasted by whiskey or drugs or whatever it is, you know. And that's something new that I've seen. I don't remember seeing young people so dispirited, so unhappy before. And there's something wrong in the society that will provoke young people in that direction. So there you are. Now, those young people, I was that young person, and I was motivated into something else, you know, and which I still am. So motivation, okay, I think I just figured out something. If you are motivated when you're young, I think all your life you'll have a purpose of living. There'll be a reason. You know, well, I've accomplished this, what's the next step? I gave up cigarette smoking once, about 30 years ago. And that was one of the greatest things I was able to do, you know, to give up that addiction, because cigarettes...
I agree.
You know what they should have put on the packs? They should put cigarettes is a narcotic and is an addiction. That's what should be on cigarettes. I mean, that's how powerful it is. And I was able to stop smoking, you know, and that was a great boost to my willpower, you know. Then later on I had some other alcoholic and drug problems, but they were all interrelated, because that's a disease that I have. And people who have that disease, that's why these young people on the streets intrigue me, that, you know, that we as a nation haven't, you know, come to grips with that problem. You know, we won't accept certain addictions. The above-the-counter drugs, prescription drugs, are not considered drugs. What are considered drugs is all the illegal drugs, when in reality coffee, sugar, tobacco, whiskey, any of the prescription drugs, all the tranquilizers, all the barbiturates, amphetamines, they are all drugs. I mean, they're just loaded with drugs. The food we eat are just permeated with the preservatives. So you see, we ask certain segments of our society that it is a no-no to use cocaine, but it's not a no-no to use alcohol. you can go buy it. But when both are as destructive as each other. So you see, it's inequitable, you know?
Yeah.
Why should the tobacco industry or the liquor industry be so powerful that it forces young people to drink? And literally forces them. You know, lifestyle becomes so unmanageable that you got to do something to relieve the tension. So if you can't relieve the tension, you need something to help you relieve it. Why don't we take our energies and figure out what those tensions are to begin with? What makes us, forgive me for going on so long.
No, that's okay. I wasn't going to bring it up, but now that you did, you were addicted to alcohol.
I was addicted to alcohol, cocaine, any drug.
What drove you to that?
Well, it's a disease. It's a disease syndrome. It's something that you inherit, you know, and it's not, you don't hear someone say there's a cancer junkie. There's no such animal. So how can you say there's a drunken junkie or a dope junkie? It's a disease. All of these symptoms I'm telling you are diseases. And if you're hooked on any, how many obese people do you see walking around? I mean, really heavy people, 20, 30, 50, 60 pounds, 100 pounds over what they should be. That's an addiction. That's where the addiction lies. They can't make it up with drugs, they make it up with food. So you say, well, one is better than the other? No. It all is destructive. You know, you'll be skinny if you use cocaine and die, and you'll be obese and fat if you eat and you'll die. So, you know, it all works the same way, or you drink yourself to death. Yeah. I mean, all of these.
What have you gained from that experience? Have you come out all the better?
I don't know. You know, my addiction is still there. I mean, it's an incurable disease, but I've cured it by sobriety. And that's where the strength lies, in rethinking yourself, finding that your life was unmanageable, and that you're powerless over the addiction. And the only way that you can come to grips with it is to eliminate as much stress and tension out of your system. Change your friends, change your lifestyle.
Do things like what we're doing right now.
Exactly.
This
to
is
verbalize
fun.
it. I mean,
Yes.
you know, to talk about it.
Yes.
Because, you know, it's only when I talk about it do I hear it. When you think about it, your thoughts are quicker than the speed of light. So you don't question it. But if you stop and you start to articulate it, you've got to automatically slow down. And by articulating it, I hear it for the first time as you do. This isn't a rabbit talking or a machine, you know? And that's where my rehabilitation comes in.
And we learn from you when you talk.
Well, I hope so, because I want other people to understand and see in me themselves and see in me their addiction. Because then you'll take a big sigh of relief and say, well, listen, I can't be all that bad. That guy's got it, so have I got it. And that's the purpose of it, isn't it?
Is acting a disease? Is that an addiction?
It certainly is.
Do you have, we all know how great you are.
No,
Admit it. You're a legend. You're a superstar.
am?
Of course you are.
Tell these girls that.
Of course you are.
All right, and?
You didn't have any problem with that. We were just down in the lobby of
yeah,
this
right.
hotel.
Wasn't that wonderful?
And 200 people came right up to him, crowding around him. They love you.
Yes, they do.
We all love you.
Well, it makes me feel good. You know, I love that love.
Yeah. It's positive stroke.
You know, everybody, we should have you know, instead of liquor stores, should have love shops. And as you walk down, there are 50 or 500 people sitting in that come in off the street to get off their feet. You feed them lunch, and if anybody goes on stage and needs love, everybody applauds, we love you, hey, give me your autograph. And now, wouldn't that make you feel good at the end of the day, come home from a schleppy job? I think I'll go to the love machine and step in there and sign autographs.
I think I'd go at the beginning of every day. I'd get up out of bed in the morning.
Yeah, and spend the whole day there.
Spend the whole day, or at least start my day there.
But that'd be different, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I'd kind of like that.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think that would do an awful lot of good for a lot of people's ego.
I think so, too.
Keep them off the bottle, keep them off drugs.
Everybody likes to be liked.
I think so, and you want to have as much fun out of your lifetime that you're given, because time is so fleeting, it's so quick. You say to somebody, how far do you live from here? They say 20 minutes. Look at what you do. You convert distance into time immediately. It's incredible. We're all Einsteins that don't even know it. We all have so many gifts, every one of us, and we don't even know it.
The gift of acting. We have a lot of young people who are trying to break into the profession. What type of advice would you give to young actors?
Observation, personal consciousness, a consciousness of self, to be self-conscious, to be conscious of yourself, to be conscious of everything around you, and to observe everything you see, that your eye doesn't miss anything. And that is an education in itself. You know, observe people's walks, behavior, pattern. Remember that little guy we met downstairs, Matthew, was 7 years old?
Matthew.
I mean, Matthew was 7 going on 46, I mean, we kind of leaned in there. And I mean, I learned something just watching this little man. I may play a part when they were.
A little
And
7-year-old
if I do
boy.
that, Matthew gave me a kind of a little clue to it. My sons, Nicholas and Benjamin, I see them every now and then with me now, and it's wonderful to be around them because I observe in them human behavior and characteristics that I will one day be able to use a little of each, So I think that's the bottom line. Acting schools for me don't really mean that much. It's just a lot of young actors hanging around with other actors. But what is important is the observation of living, improving one's self-improvement. That's another one. Read a lot, listen to music, learn to dance, learn to sing. Not because you're going to use it anywhere, but it just kind of fills out that palette. So you've got a lot of different instruments that you can use.
A lot of instruments to draw from.
Yes.
A lot of
Well,
experience.
I've talked much too much. Are you married?
Yes.
Well, I'm not jealous.
Are you married?
No, I'm not. Oh.
That leaves me a chance
Yeah,
then.
there's both a chance.
Well,
Who's going
Tony,
to tell your husband, you or me?
he'll have to
we'll
watch
have
this
Bobby
to find
find
out.
Right.
Thank you very much, Tony.
Pleasure.
It has been a pleasure having
you,
you on
Lydia.
Upbeat.
Thank
And
you.
we'll be looking forward to more movies from you.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Goodbye. Okay.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Wonderful, Dee.